What is going on, everyone? Badger here, and we got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Chuck Dixon. If you don't know who he is, Google him. Co-creator of Bane, written in for obviously Batman. He's written for Marvel, Spider-Man. Currently, just has Alpha Core in the Rippaverse with Eric July. He has a nice little section here in his interview with Bounding into Comics where he explains exactly how Disney has mishandled Lucasfilm and by extension, obviously, Indiana Jones and Star Wars and Marvel. So let's let Chuck go through this and then we'll stop and go through it as he starts to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like you said, it's a boutique niche market, and they actively
They're talking about comic books right now, but what he says is not just comic; it could apply to all their franchises.
willingly, knowingly turned it into that. Mm-hmm. I always say that if the carrot industry was run the way comics were, within a year you'd have people saying, "Remember carrots? Do they still make them?" And that's what.
And to a certain extent, people were saying the same thing. They were like, "Wait, remember Star Wars? Remember when we liked that? Remember Marvel? Remember when we liked it in the first 3 phases? What happened?"
What they've done is because comics have always been an accident. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were created as a default to keep presses running. Mm-hmm. And then the publishers were surprised when they actually sold. Mm-hmm. And that attitude has not changed.
Well, the other thing, something else we've talked about is that it's always been a male-centric, or it's been an industry which has been driven for male readers, for boys.
Not always.
Okay.
Not always. 50s and 60s, it was girls buying the comics.
Romance.
Girls the comic book market. With
was that
Archie, romance. Right. Mm-hmm. Young Romance sold 3.5 million copies a month for years.
Now, real quick, because this is a really important distinction. I think this is what a lot of people miss with Star Wars and Marvel. Disney, and this is Chris Gore has gone over this, and please, this is just the facts of what it was, okay? Disney was a girl brand. It was primarily a female audience and families. Star Wars and Marvel were boy brands. Even though women liked them, and even though there was plenty of strong female characters and all of it, it primarily was boys. When Disney originally bought Marvel and Star Wars, it was to attract boys to their girl brand. And as also pointed out by Chris Gore, unfortunately, Disney doesn't know, at least at the time, now it's a different reason, Disney doesn't know how to market to boys, which is why they effectively turned Star Wars and then allowed Kevin Feige to turn Marvel into girl brands, because that's what Disney knows how to sell to. Unfortunately, when you alienate your core audience, like well over 50% of your audience, which are men, you fill it full of agenda that says that the patriarchy is bad and they're horrible and these women are the best that ever. Well, guess what? We get to where we are right now, where all those franchises and the comic book industries are in fucking shatters because you alienated your core audience that actually pays for this stuff.
You had lots of romance titles. You had Archie, and girls were reading regular comics too. They were reading Little Lulu and Uncle Scrooge and Green Lantern. My sisters read Green Lantern because they thought Hal Jordan was cute. So, we've and they've totally abandoned that market.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to get it back. They think.
I mean, by the way, not for nothing, but I think it's a solid competition between Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner for best looking Green Lantern.
I think third wave feminist comic book stories are going to bring girls back to read. No, they're not. Because girls, your female readerships, I was successful on Nightwing because I was writing the kind of story that girls like too. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of interrelationship.
Yes, Nightwing's ass is infamous, and girls like to stare at it, as do gay men.
It was a more dense plot. It wasn't just...
Hell, I'm straight, and I appreciate a good Dick Grayson butt. I mean, it's legendary.
It's about guys punching each other. Same thing for Spider-Man. Spider-Man was successful for so long because of the soap opera elements.
Right.
And I call them soap opera elements, but it's kind of a pejorative. It's more complex human relationships in the story.
Yeah. Family dynamics, girlfriend dynamics.
And women like reading about that stuff, and guys like it too, but they won't admit it.
They do. I mean, to me, it's melodrama, and I think you have to have that mixed in with the act.
Guys like it because we think it might be leading to a sex scene. Remember, we were all horny kids when we were reading comics, at least originally. There was no Google, there was no porn. Trust me. But maybe you got some sexy fun time in a Black Widow comic.
Action in order to tell a compelling story. It just can't be wall-to-wall action, but it really does seem that it's like this one-size-fits-all now. We're just going to make comics for everybody. We're not going to cater.
Movies too, and they're making it for everyone and no one. The mythical modern audience, the ones that tweet and then they don't actually go buy tickets.
Cater to girls. We're not going to cater to boys with certain titles or certain certain ideas. And I think that's a failure on their part as well, where you've just kind of given up on the things that get young boys excited and interested in these characters. I just don't see it anymore.
Well, no, because they're going to reject what they see. Like they've rejected so much of things. I mean, comics aren't the only thing suffering.
Oh,
I mean, look
absolutely.
at the population of people going on to college and university. It's 70% female.
Yeah.
Because guys get to university. This happened to me in 1972. I went to orientation at Temple University and thought, they don't want me here. You know, a white guy from the suburbs, I'm not welcome here. They
Right.
don't want me. So I didn't go. And that has to happen over and over and over and over again.
And those identity politics, that third wave feminism, not like normal, regular human right. Like, no, come on. Men and women are different, but they're just as equal, like fundamental rights as a person, just as equal. And they're just as capable in their own ways. No, this is men are shit, patriarchy bad. Women are the best. Women are the best ever. Women are better.
That either at orientation or by the end of
It's intersectional. That's what Gary always likes to say. Intersectional.
the freshman year, the guy says, no, I'm
Mhm.
not, I am persona non grata here, and my parents are paying a fortune for me to be here, so I'm out.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that across the board. I mean, the streaming services, movie attendance, television series, everything else falling apart because they're not aiming it at an audience that actually wants to see. Look what Disney did. Spent $8 billion to get 2 male-oriented franchises and immediately turn them into girly stories.
Boom. 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 And that's what it is. That's the problem. They also, I'd say they don't. This is the problem with Rebel Moon, where I realize what is my actual issue? And I realize it's because the main character, who is a woman, is written like a man. And unfortunately, Chris Gorse has said this also. Women, not all of them, but a lot of them just don't have the same gravitas. And when they try and pull off that like struggling stoic, they end up just sounding like a see you next Tuesday. If you don't know what that is, I think you could figure it out. It just, you gotta go back to letting men be men and women be women and understand that it was working before. You don't need to fill everything and switch it and turn it on its head. And the proof is in the pudding. I don't know how many more failures we need. Let me know what you think. By all means, please go give Bounding into Comics like and subscribe. Chuck Dixon, please go buy Alpha Core Eric versus. Actually, it's really good. And thank you for the likes and subscriptions, and we'll see you on the next one.